Okay, in the kitchen now with Kara Doster from the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. Always great to see you.
Good to see you too.
What kind of cheeses are we using today?
Well, today, of course, we have so many cheeses that we make here in Wisconsin, over 650 varieties, types, and styles. But Wisconsin Havarti is a great cheese. It's always been one of my favorite cheeses. It originated in Denmark, and it comes in a number of different varieties. There's the plain, of course, but there's also the dill Havarti, which I know is one of your favorites. There's a caraway Havarti, and there's also pepper Havarti made with jalapeno peppers.
So kind of the order of a pepper jack, so it's got a little bit of a kick to it. That must be a relatively new one. I haven't heard of that one.
Yes, again, they're always adding new ones, and Havarti actually is really a good melting cheese, which we want for this recipe. Very creamy, very buttery, and a little bit acidic. So that's the kind of flavor profile it has. So
Kid friendly,
perfect for this.
You know, too. It's not like it's not like a blue cheese or anything like that. Where it's just, you know, everybody who loves it tries it, likes it, basically. This is a fun one. Tell us what we're making.
This is only really 4 ingredients, very simple, and this is kind of the method too. You could use different cheeses as well as that melts well, but this is called a bubble bread. If you're familiar with a monkey bread, a lot of people know the kind of a pull-apart bread. This is the same type, but it's more savory. Using the cheese, we're going to use our Wisconsin pepper Havarti and some smoked ham.
Yum.
So it's perfect, like you said, for maybe a side to a soup or chili or anything like that. And what we're going to use very simply is just get some frozen bread dough, or if you can find some fresh bread dough, some bakeries have that as well. 1 pound. You want to make sure that it's defrosted, if it is frozen. And then you just want to kind of roll it out a little bit. You want to make a nice surface there. I'll let you hold that for me.
Now we're using the pepper Havarti, but if the kids don't like spice, you could certainly use the plain Havarti, or like as Karen said, a different type of cheese.
And what makes it nice if it's a little spicier, you can really taste it, gives it a little bit of zip, but absolutely any kind. You can even use a Munster or a cheddar or a Fontina, anything like that would work too.
Now, Havarti's real soft. Did you... You know, when you came to grating it, did you throw it in the freezer a little bit?
Well, that's a good tip. You can, yes, I did put it in the freezer, or you want to make sure it's nice and cold when you do grate, because it is soft. So, and another tip is you can also spray your grater with a little like Pam or something like that, and then it won't stick as much. But yes, the firmer it is, the better, and much easier to shred. So we have a nice little surface there. So what I have here is 4 ounces of a shredded Wisconsin pepper Havarti, and a good rule of thumb is if it calls for 4 ounces in the recipe, that's about 1 cup. Okay, so that makes it easier to measure. Kind of spread that around. And then we have about 2 ounces of some finely chopped ham. You can even buy it chopped already, like that, a little package, which I did there.
Sure, or deli ham or whatever.
Exactly, and then smoked ham. Then what you want to do is kind of knead it about 10-12 times. Like this, and some of it falls out. You just keep putting it in again. And what you're doing is you're getting all that cheese, especially, it almost disappears. It's getting inside the dough there. Kind of work it in there, and then what we're going to do is you want to get a bundt pan or tube pan like that. You don't need to grease it first, because we're going to be dipping these little balls in butter. So what we can do is we're going to make 24 little balls. Well, you make 12, I'll make 12. How's that sound?
We'll cut it in half, we'll split it, and then we're just going to use our fingers to make the balls?
And dip it in butter. So this is about the size I take, approximately like this. Okay, roll it up. You can put some more little ham pieces in there that fell out. Most of the cheese disappears, you see, it's in there. And you dip it in some butter. Get it really nice and saturated, and then put it inside your pan there. So you're going to make like a little ring. It's
like a pull apart. Very similar. I have a monkey bread recipe in my cookbook, and same type of thing where you make these little balls. This one happens to use, mine uses biscuits.
But same idea.
Dip it in cinnamon sugar and then butter, and and when it bakes together, you'll see how cool it looks.
And it pulls apart real easily. So that's why it makes it a nice, side dish for your chili that you're making, or soup. A great cold weather type of bread. And bread and cheese always goes together really well, as you know.
And butter.
And again, I wanted to mention, this is kind of the method again. You can use, as you mentioned, depending upon the kind of cheese you like, other cheeses that could work.
I'm just thinking so many different combinations. You could do diced pepperoni and mozzarella cheese.
And that's a great idea.
With pasta dishes.
After you get your 12 on the bottom, then you start layering on the top. So you're making like 2 layers.
And don't worry, it's very forgiving. This is.
Oh yeah.
It's not.
If you only ended up with 23 balls, I don't think it would matter.
No.
Yeah, so
Drop them along. And any kind of frozen bread dough that you'd see, because you just in the freezer section. That's
in the freezer section, yes, they have it at all grocery stores. I've been to several. They come in a bag, usually maybe 3-4 loaves.
So pull one out.
Yeah, pull one out and let it defrost. They have directions on there where you can defrost it overnight in your refrigerator, or you can set it out on the counter. It's going to be a little faster.
Now you do need to let this rise a little bit, right?
Yes, so you do want to allow for that. About an hour.
Just out on the counter?
Yes. Okay, cover it with some saran wrap.
Okay.
And about an hour or so till it kind of doubles, to kind of eyeball it.
Okay, that's key.
Yes. Again, this is a yeast bread, so it needs that warmth or just the room temperature to start rising a little bit, so that it's
oven temperature.
Great temperature
to bake this.
That one would be at 375 degrees.
Okay.
It will take about 25-30 minutes.
And I can imagine this is one of those that really is going to taste best warm.
Yes, because you pull it apart and all that cheesy goodness comes out with the ham. So
we're going to let this rise.
Right.
And I want to show you what it looks like after it's risen, and you can see it really does
kind of double. Yeah.
Puff up. So don't bake it until you get kind of that type of thing. All right, let's clean up our mess here. And
all right.
We want to show you what's coming out of the oven, because I am super pumped about this. I'm thinking of all the different combinations, and I'm thinking how my kids would just go crazy over this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it's as you mentioned, best served right out of the oven.
Okay, let's go.
Next day isn't as good.
Puffs right up. You can see the cheese. You can see the ham. Now, getting it out of there is always a challenge, right?
Right. It recommends, it shouldn't stick because you have that butter there, but you can kind of loosen it from the sides a bit there.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I always put a plate, just like you would do a bundt cake.
Flip it over.
All right, come on. Ta-da!
There you go.
Look at that.
Actually, I like the other side. You flip it over that way.
Oh, okay.
And then I think it looks a little prettier that
Oh,
way.
wow.
So there you go. And we could put it right on here there to make it a little bit prettier.
Oh, that's
And if
fun.
you want to pull it apart a little bit to show that cheesy goodness.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Cheese.
And so
it's really hot right now, so I'm going to let it cool in just a minute. Recipe's on our website, and you can also, if you don't have a computer, Karen, you'll send this recipe out to people?
Yes, you can call 1-800-747-9662. It's also on our website, eatwisconsincheese.com.